boys. We could just sit and chat at this point.
Oh, yeah. The show starts in 3 minutes.
So then she said, "Get your damn hands off me, you filthy ape."
That was your wife last night?
Yeah.
Should
I ping Aggie? Because she can answer most of these questions.
Well, she's going to anyway.
She'll be...
Boop, 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 boop. She just pinged you. She was like, hey.
You don't ping Aggie. Aggie pings you.
Whether you like it or not.
You've been pinged. Hey, everybody.
All the best.
You're not actually, nobody's there.
Nobody's
We're talking
here.
to ourselves.
Marbles is there. Hi, Marbles.
We're always talking to ourselves. Is Marbles there?
I think so.
I don't see.
Oh, no, she left.
I don't see nobody.
Yeah, there was 2 people there earlier.
Thank you for choosing Bell, Will.
Apparently, I bought some home phone.
Did you?
That was part of your contract. You just didn't read that fine print.
It's just weird that they're like now thanking me for my order.
Yeah, they're really on the ball.
Yeah. It's all right. It's like it cuts, like I end up paying less because I have a home phone, which we're not ever going to actually hook up.
Yeah.
Oh, mercy. Hey, Sudabite.
It's Connor. What's happening, Connor?
You know, it's funny. I never know. You know who everybody is by their their handle.
Yeah, because you interact with them. We just look up and it's like, oh,
it's
Sudabite
name
talking.
person, and then you're like, it's Connor. I'm like, fuck. I
also,
need to remember
Connor's
that
been
one
tuning
day.
in like every episode for 3 years.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
He's
There's
the head of
Marbles.
the Maelstrom fan club.
Yeah.
Hi, Marbles.
There's now 2 people.
Yeah.
Which is 100% growth rate.
Is one of them you?
No.
Oh, it's your mom. It's your mom.
I hear his mom's hot.
Yeah. Super hot.
No.
You keep saying that.
I do, and I will always keep saying that.
I don't think I've ever actually met your mom. Or did I?
Yeah, I think so.
Weird.
Briefly,
Weird.
I think.
Weird.
I think so. Just briefly.
Apparently Marbles is the head of the fan club, although she's not officially a fan.
It just, all I can see is she's the head of something.
I'm the head of something.
Shit.
Oh, she's the head of the fan club.
I was being a little more imaginative there.
Apparently we go live in 40 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
we may add somebody to the cast. For now, we might just talk about stuff.
I could just go on Discord. I guarantee you I could get like 5 of those
It's
monkeys on
it's what it is. Let's do our SOO cast, and we'll just we'll let we're gonna let it ride, boys. Gonna let it ride.
Let it ride.
It's too late now. It's funny. We went from having 2 guests to nothing.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because shit happens.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, it does.
We're going to bring up the schedule. We'll just talk about all the different events. George might be able to let us in on some insights. Maybe we'll be able to get Ben and Aggie to join us at the last minute. We'll see. 7 seconds out. Oh, actually, we're past it.
We're past it.
All right. Go ahead and hit the button, George.
Recording live from the Haley Sisters Memorial Studios, straight out of lovely Almont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your unofficial Warmahordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now.
Evening, everybody. It's another podcast time.
It is.
And annually, the week before we go to the SOO, we sit around and talk about the SOO. Usually we're able to pull in the guests that run the SOO.
Yep.
Tim had a family emergency. I don't want to be the one to divulge the news as to what that was, so I'll let him tell you what that was. But yeah, there is absolutely zero reason for him to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are not busting his balls about this at all. And I'm not being sarcastic, even though I always sound that. I'm literally like we're not going to talk about that.
No.
Matt was going to sub in for him, but probably in the maelstrom of what is preparation for the SOO plus Tim's family emergency.
Not me.
Not
either.
you.
Just the word.
Just the word maelstrom. The actual
word.
And on top of that, our internet may cut out at any time tonight because
it's miserable.
it is like the craziest windstorm I've ever seen out
My
there.
mother-in-law, who is no less than 3 minutes from here on the other side of the road, her internet was out most of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Ours went out for like 30 seconds and then came back on. Thank you, Belle, who just sent me a bill for no reason. So what we're going to do is we have put the word out to a couple of people who are involved with some of the planning for the SOO. They might be able to join us a little bit later. We'll see how that goes. People are super, super busy who are planning that. So
Yeah, it's kind of the night before deal. So.
Yeah, Aggie is literally running around doing Sue errands.
okay,
But
perfect.
we're going to see
If Ben can join us.
Yep.
So things we're going to talk about tonight. There's a lot
A lot of beep.
of different beeping going on. So while Ben is being rung up. Did you actually talk to Ben, or are you just like
No,
cold
I'm just
calling him?
talking to Aggie. I'm
Cold
cold
calling?
calling Ben.
She's like, Ben's just sitting around painting stuff. Looks like he's not going to be able to join us quite yet. Maybe we'll try getting a hold of him a little bit later.
Yep.
So here's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. There is actually been some crazy news coming out of PP this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Big.
Who knew?
Like,
who knew?
Yeah.
So,
Well, we knew because it's Wednesday, and we've had only an hour to look at stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's when PP releases everything.
exactly. So funny enough, I think the biggest news that came out today was 0-level casters,
Yeah.
which means junior war casters.
Yep.
But because they've already given away the number one to all these casters,
Yeah.
they're like redacting and coming up with like teenage versions,
Yeah, the 0 level.
the 0-level versions of all these casters. I'm pretty stoked
Yep.
because Kane.
Yeah. You're a big Kane fan.
It's gonna be like
so.
4 different Kanes.
Yeah, and that son of a bitch is basically a gun mage.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Like I
he
looked
really
at it, they're in CID, so they showed up on the CID today. It was a giant surprise.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it was coming.
Nope.
Jason, what were the 4 casters that or they announced more than that, or was it 4?
No, just 4. For the 4 main factions that
The 4 original factions.
The 4 original factions that came out 15 years ago. So the first one was Kane 0. The second one was Sorsha 0. And then we had Denegra 0. And we had Severius 0.
Crazy awesome.
And if
Yeah.
you want to see them, you can hit the Moose Machine Facebook as they announce them. They haven't put the art in the CID yet, but as they announce them, we got screen caps of all their art.
I'm pretty stoked about that. Like
Yeah.
this actually may send me back to Signar for a year.
I wouldn't be surprised because he looks really, really good.
I think. Well, and a lot of people are saying basically like the CID versions of these guys right now are a little.
And of course, it's totally illegal, but how can you resist playing Kane with Kane and Kane Jr.?
Trip Canes.
So this was brought up during the dev talk on Twitch today. Somebody asked what their intention was for the power level of these 4
And they
juniors.
said fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and Hungerford said overpowered.
Yes.
We want them bonkers.
They literally, these are the most powerful mages in our entire setting.
Yeah.
When they were teenagers and didn't have real good control over their power.
Yeah.
Well, Kane was the most powerful caster in the entire setting, like Mark II to Mark, like just the beginning of Mark III, and then they nerfed the fuck out of him. So
Yeah. I was talking about plot wise, but
plot wise, oh yeah, super good.
Plot-wise, I'm a big fan of Denegra.
Yeah, screw her. She's been OP since 03.
I love it. Okay, that needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of excitement surrounding those. They are in CID, so we're not going to go into great detail as to what the CID is.
Well, we should mention their broken bits.
Well, the broken giving
Yeah.
another snipe on a stick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
snipe on a
Signar
stick.
having snipe on a stick is pretty gross.
And
Kador
Moros-
getting more movement.
And
Yeah.
what do you got? Ace in every list now?
Yeah. Ace in every. Oh, yeah. Somehow Zero Kane's like, I get Ace. I don't get him for another 30 years in the
all it
story, but it
says
makes
is-
sense.
All it says is you got to play him with a cane.
Yeah. Broken, super
Yeah.
broken, so good. What does Denny do?
Denny's probably the weakest of the 3. I
Good.
think. Yeah.
Screw her.
She has
Crippling Grasp is the
No.
weak spell?
Parasite.
Oh,
She
Parasite.
She has Parasite, okay, but she's only a 4 focus caster.
Okay.
So really, you're boosting to hit that Parasite on Kador Jax.
Yeah,
And she's focus 4, So you need that that last focus to hit that boost. And if you roll shitty, she's just useless.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And the 98% of the rest of the time, you parasite something and it dies, and then she's far enough back.
I wouldn't say 98%.
Okay, so wait,
of the time.
are you talking about a faction
Mommy
that
and Daddy are
might
fighting
have
again.
some way to reduce defense? They might be able to drag that up from
Yeah,
somewhere.
if you take Denny.
If you
No, if you take like anything in the goddamn faction.
That's not true. There's only a few.
Oh, look at this Warwitch that's
defense-reducing-
wandered up and whacked it. Oh, look,
He
it's
doesn't-
Shadowbound.
You stop defending the faction you don't even play anymore.
I don't even play them.
Oh, there's Ben. Ben's going to join us.
Jen, Ben.
Hey, we managed to get a hold of Ben. Hi, Ben. How are you?
I might be on the internet.
Yeah, we're on the
Yay.
internet with Moose Machine.
Yeah, and you're live.
Yeah.
So no pre-talk here.
Welcome.
Well, apparently this is one of them situations where everyone is doing things and I'm the least important. So hi, I'm here.
You done got voluntold.
You were actually our first choice.
Yep.
I don't believe that.
Because you were the only. You were at the top of the Skype list because you're online.
You were the only one online.
Mr. Burke might apparently be able to join us, but he's having computer problems.
Not an issue. So Ben, what we're going to do is we're doing our annual SOO show, and as you know, we haven't divulged what it is, but Tim's had some family issues. Matt's had to cover for Tim to do a bunch of other stuff for the con. So
Aggie's running around.
getting stuff done for the con. So you got pulled in to help give us some details and information as to what's going on this weekend in Hamilton. He disappeared.
Yeah, he immediately.
He's like, I'm
he
out.
heard that shit and he immediately logged off.
He just realized it was Moose Machine. It was like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
So
Such an expert on all this technology.
Perfect. So we're in the news portion. We just talked about the 0-level casters that came out. We had our annual April Fool's joke, which was the Feaster Bunny this year.
Oh my god, I love the Feaster
That
Bunny.
was great.
It was pretty
That was
good.
really good.
Now, that, of course, what that says to me is we need to make rubber molds of actual gargantuans so that we can consume them upon their death.
I think we may have to hang up on.
No, that's Matt calling.
Oh, that's Matt calling in. Let's bring in Matt Clark.
Oh, there
Matt Clark is in from the wilderness. This is like the Collins show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may have, in fact, hung up on Ben. I'm not exactly sure how Skype works.
I'm sure Ben is like mopping his forehead right now, getting rid of the sweat. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good, yourself.
We're
guys hear
doing
me?
Yep, we
very
can hear
very
you
well. We are just getting ready for the SOO. I furiously, frantically painted for the last like 5 days to try to get at least one list painted, so that when I play Iron Arena, I can grab that painted point.
Yeah.
So before we get too heavily into the news and get talking about the SOO, I just want to give a little bit of bad news. Unfortunately, the one and only George Schweizer cannot make it to the SOO this year.
Yeah, I have been down-checked by the flight medic, so I will not be able to go.
So if you've not kept up on your Moose Machine history, your Moose Machine lore in the last couple of weeks,
God.
George has been stabbed several times by a doctor. Luckily,
Yeah,
it was
like,
a
it was
medical
someone who
professional.
I have
Wasn't
been
us.
medically stabbed repeatedly.
Yeah, and now is still in healing, and unfortunately needs to continue his bed rest.
Yep. And I am really sad about this, not just because I really look forward to the Sioux, but this will mark the first Sioux that I have missed.
Yeah, it's also
I-
going to mark the first time that you've just left the stream to us for 3 days.
Yeah, the
Dear God.
fear, dread, and uncertainty that has consumed me for the last couple of days, where I'm like, oh God,
Well,
what are they going to do?
Well, the funniest part about this is we're actually going to pare back everything to, 2014 levels? Was it 2014, 2015, where
What
we
was
showed
the
up? We showed up with a
first year?
camera and 2 microphones, and we're like, "We're going to stream this shit." And Matt and Banky were like,
Oh.
"Okay."
Yeah, I was here. I'm like, I showed up that year. The very first year, of course, was in that Legion Hall where we all had to take off our hats. But I think it was the first year. Was it the first year that it was actually at the hall it is now? I came in, I looked around, and I said, to Tim, there doesn't seem to be anybody streaming here. Would it be okay if I dragged my gear up? And he's like, oh yeah, okay.
and
then
forevermore
it all
he was
went
like,
downhill.
oh God, why?
It
I
kept
shouldn't
getting
have said
bigger
okay.
and bigger. Yeah.
So if you don't know what happened last year was George went a little bit nuts, and we had like our own room. There was 8 tables, 45 cameras, 16 computers, a hard drive array in Texas that was auto cooled by 18 air conditioners.
Pretty sure we had a chopper hanging.
Yeah, there was to do aerial photographing of the site.
Hey, the drone was very inconspicuous.
So I want to apologize now for those people that have gotten used to that level of streaming.
It was only 1 year.
George
It'll
does
be
an
back
amazing,
next year.
George
I
does
promise.
an amazing job, and next year he's going to go way overboard, but this year it'll be
Yeah,
pared
because
back.
I couldn't do it this year.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
And
I'm
we've
gonna
been
have
trying
2
to
years
stop you.
of cameras set up.
All right, we got Matt on the show now, so I just want to go back one step. Matt, did you get a chance to take a look at the level caster announcement today?
I did, yes.
What did you think?
I think they definitely could use a little bit of time through CID, but I don't have a problem with them in theory, especially considering how limited they are in terms of where they can be taken.
They each have, 1 or 2 theme forces?
They both, all of them, from what I understand, have 2 theme forces, and they seem to be very targeted in where they can go. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, the one that people seem to be, or the 2 that most people seem to have the most issue with are the Denegro Zero and Sev Zero.
Mhm.
And they're both extremely limited in what they can currently work with right now. Like, Denegra Zero can only be taken in the Mechanothrall theme that nobody ever takes, and Black Industries, where she's not a free solo that can be taken.
Yeah.
So you can take like her mandatory Bonejack as a journeyman caster for free, but for instance, if you're trying to slot her into like that Asphyxious 9 Slayers build, it's like, is it like you're already pretty low on how many units and solos and stuff you can take anyways?
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure that, you know, what she brings to that list is exactly going to, you know, ruin everything.
Now, here's a question. Do you think this will push anybody out of theme to take these?
I highly doubt it. There could be a case to be made for something like the Severius one, just because like a 10-inch bubble of Eye of Menoth is extremely powerful in lists that already can take, you know, pretty like, for instance, if you were taking a list like something with like Eye of Truth, who has like buffs for things in his aura, and you just like made like this Death Star list with tons of, you know, guns and things like that that are all benefiting from like massive overlaying buffs, I could maybe see the case for that, but you have to compare that to playing like 15 to 20 points down in some cases.
Right.
So I'm not entirely sure it's going to break the game either. It's interesting.
Well, the next thing that came out this week is something called the First Shot Organized Play. They showed a preview of it this week, and it's, as far as my understanding, I read the write up. It's a event targeted at adults bringing their kids. Yeah. So that's kind of a cool thing. Hopefully that works out. George, you've tried to organize a lot of these type of introductory events like this. Do we need something like this right now?
Yes, I would say we always need something like this, and it's really great to see PP stepping up and providing something like it for the community. Normally, what you end up having to do, and this mostly is demo games, but what you normally end up doing is doing something like simplifying it by doing front of card on the casters and even on the jacks and stuff, and playing small point games, almost always battle boxes, unless you are looking at something a little more cinematic for doing a demo. And it's really nice to see PP stepping up and actually providing something.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how that event goes. I'd like to see stores support it, so we just need to push our local stores to give it a try. Maybe, it might be an event one of us goes and runs. The next thing that came up this week was P3. The new P3 painting contest rules were announced. Biggest overview on that is they're now for Lock and Load and for Gen Con. The biggest news on that one is that they're now putting busts into a separate category. So those guys that have been buying the Sorsha bus, the Borka bus, I think what was happening was those were kind of overwhelming a lot of the categories. They don't fit into any specific category. And the single model category, they kind of overwhelm a little bit. So I think they've moved them into their own. That's my theory anyway.
I agree.
Last but not least, Lock and Load tickets went on sale, which is so people are getting excited about that already.
Yep.
Okay, so tonight's round table, we're going to talk. We're going to get Matt to give us all the scoop on the new cool things that are happening at the SOO this year. If this is your first SOO, hopefully you have a chance to listen to this. If you're going to the 2018 SOO, which is an inevitability at this point, this will be the cast that we tell you to listen to a month or two in advance, so that you kind of are prepped for your con-going experience. It is our favorite con. We make a giant effort to go there every year. This is basically Jason and my vacation.
Yep. Very much is.
George, it's like work. I think he...
No, actually, even when I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I absolutely love it.
A chick with your head cut off?
Chicken.
Oh, okay, fair. Matt, if you could, let's start with, give us some insight as to the amount of work that you and Tim put into the SOO every year to kind of give us the eagle's eye view of what it's like to create a con this size.
So basically, the month after. Oh, sorry. Before we even get to the month after, like basically the week after the convention, we have to file a bunch of reports with Privateer Press and give stuff to Jay Larson for, he wants the lists and things like that for Iron Gauntlet. Privateer Press wants, lists and the players and the number of players. We send stuff out to Carl for War Machine Weekend because we're a War Machine Weekend qualifier. So there's just like a bunch of after action like paperwork that we have to do.
Right.
Within the month afterwards, we're usually starting to talk with the Sheridan about signing a contract for the following year because we happen to be in a time frame that if we leave it too late, like someone's wedding or something like that, it's going to occupy the ballroom space a lot of times. So we need to make sure that we have a contract and stuff written up pretty soon after that normally. So basically, it's a lot of little things just sort of piling up over the course of an entire year. Like I've been every year I tend to monitor websites like Wholesale Chess for when they do like their Black Friday or other types of sales to buy a bunch of chess clocks, or if we need to buy supplies to replenish some of our terrain or other things that we tend to beat up pretty badly. Just over the course of the year, just a lot of small things that add up to a fair amount of time overall. But, if you attack it a little bit at a time, it doesn't seem as manageable. And then about a few months before the event, we try to finalize our schedule. We do the online registration system, start collecting money because we need to pay a deposit for the room.
Right.
We try to get all of our prize support stuff and the shirts and all that kind of stuff that we order as well. The swag. We have to file reports with Privateer Press again before the event because we're trying to pick up prize support so we can have all those cool things to raffle off or have people win in the Iron Arena. We got a bunch of really cool stuff this year, which I'm really excited to give away at some point.
Jason and I are just going to be like Iron Arena looting this year.
Yeah.
That's like our
Going full Iron Arena.
we're like
nerds.
when there's no games going on, we'll be like, you, me, 15-point game, let's go.
Do it.
No, the best.
That's all good.
The best
That's
one
what
I
it's
think
there
is
for.
what, the 35 points, because you can only report once an hour.
God
Yeah,
damn
true.
it! So if you go.
Or if you're really good, actually the best thing to do is to manage to lose a unbound game in an hour. If you can do that reliably, you get so many points.
I turn my caster around and march him down the field towards your caster.
You
Damn
do
it!
that
You
3 times.
just shoot me in the ass, you idiot!
Yeah, but you know how many rounds it takes to do that 3 times?
So
There'll
sorry.
probably be space for
Iron-
Company of Iron as well.
I like Company of Iron Arena.
Yeah.
Good job. You said that like the first time out. He drinks
Sober
less.
guy.
He drinks less than we do. So Matt, tell us about some of the new events this year, because every year we go, you guys add a little, take away a little. What's new at the SOO this year?
As alluded to, we're going to have support for Company of Iron. We have, I think one of the things that we got sent to us from Privateer Press was some of those like commander upgrade cards or something like that.
Ooh.
Let's see here. I think that's what they are.
He's got them in front of him. We can't even see them. You bastard.
Yeah, we have some Company of Iron commander upgrades. We've got Iron Kingdom stuff again, the role playing game. We have about 6 modules of that running over the course of the weekend, and some pretty sweet prize support to support that.
Do you have the same people running them that ran them last year?
Dwayne, Sean, and Dan.
I'm not sure.
nice.
That sounds right.
If it's Dan VK, the dude with the
Yeah,
like Dan, if
Yes.
you have not played a game with Dan as the dungeon or the game master, oh my god!
Last year, my wife and Bilak both played in those, and they both. I think they might have even played the same character. And it was amazing.
I've heard that people pee themselves. It's so fun. They laugh so hard. Yeah, that I
If
actually
those are the people that you're referring to, then yeah, they're back.
awesome.
Nice.
That sounds amazing. So we've already broken the news about the live stream. That was going to be our next topic. We did break the news. The live stream is going to be pulled back a little bit this year.
Yeah, but I want people to know that we're going to still try and have the live stream running.
Oh, it's going to be running 24/7.
It's going to be running 24/7 again.
Maybe not 24/7.
Well,
24/3.
24/3, all the days that you're there. But we will still have the overnight where you can turn it on in the background and they get really, really surprised when somebody wanders over and just starts randomly playing on the table.
Super
really
drunkenly.
drunk.
Yep.
We will have commentators for at least the finals, hopefully the semifinals as well. And we will stream the other games. They won't be commentated or anything, but they'll be out there. And I do believe you guys are going to try and stream the state of the game as well, right?
That was the big news is that by popular demand, the state of the game, which to this day is the most popular podcast I've ever seen done. That was done by Rich from Beer Machine and myself, these guys from Arcane Assist. And we brought in every other podcaster we could find.
We had Combo Smite, we had
and some
Party Foul, we had
some
John
Matthew
Christensen.
McWaters dude.
That was hilarious. Matt was about to play. I of course, knowing Matt, knew that he was not necessarily going to be a big deal, but was a competent player. Literally was someone who had good information.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. G found Matt before Matt did.
No, but I know Matt, and I was like, he has information that people should hear, and I tried to get him in there. And
I just tried to gather the most contentious people I could possibly find to argue about about Token Gate. So that's going to happen again this year, and yes, that'll be Saturday night. I believe it's at 9:00. So if you're just in for State of the Game, we're going to broadcast that live Saturday night, 9:00. There is a Beer Machine podcast just before that. So as soon as that one ends, we'll get going. That one, of course, is flexible because it's sometimes hard to get 20 podcasters in a room.
Yeah,
all
we
at
have
one time.
even more podcasters coming this year.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck, am I so jealous?
And then and basically, I'm leaving it up to Jason to rep Moose Machine in that podcast because I have to moderate. So
I guess there's a couple of other new events that I should probably talk about.
Heck yeah.
So instead of having the Iron Gauntlet qualifier on the Friday like we have in previous years, since that format doesn't exist anymore, we're running Champions, which is sort of a side grade, but has the upshot with the new system of both the Champions and the Masters being Iron Gauntlet qualifiers.
Oh, interesting.
Dang.
So
Because
there's
they
two people
both
that
get
can
you
go.
points.
Yeah. Man, if if you're in for that type of thing, you could rack up a lot of points this weekend.
So,
Yep.
is Champions? Let's talk a bit about the Champions event because I know very little bit about that style of event. What are the basic rule differences between that and the Masters?
So the primary one that will immediately differentiate it from Masters is that it's painted required, at least for this year. So similar to Iron Gauntlet or Hardcore in years before, Champions, at least for the 2017 season, was the fully painted required format. Also, it makes use of the active duty roster that Masters has. However, instead of being, pick from these casters to get a benefit, it's you can only take these casters with no benefit. So it's also taking the role of a limited format rather than like a full spectrum War Machine event.
Historically, I mean, something to shout out to those people that have fully painted armies. I tried, you guys.
You got fully painted lists.
I have one list that's fully painted. That's the other question, Matt. Is it DNC?
Yes.
Okay.
There is. We're expecting it to probably be about 5 rounds. So you have to play your off list if you have one that's considered an off list once out of 5, which isn't the most onerous thing in the world, but I still have seen people get sort of screwed by that, which obviously sucks sometimes, but that's the way the format works.
So for those people that have a couple of lists, is it 3 list or 2 list?
It's Champions is a dyad, so
Okay,
2 lists.
2. So for those people out there that have 2 fully painted lists, that here's the thing. What's interesting about an event like this, a very limited format event, is it changes the shark tank a little bit.
Yes.
It allows, something that's interesting is it allows those guys that took the time to paint up their lists to have a better chance at getting those Iron Gauntlet qualifier points. Or to get those, War Machine Weekend qualifier points. So yeah, man, go do those if you've both. So if you've got 2 fully painted lists, it's worth showing up.
Oh yeah, and I think it's worth showing up anyway. I am a huge fan of these limited formats, and I really hope that the little changes that they're doing really promote this format, because I think it's something that could be not only really interesting, but create a situation where someone who maybe can't get a hold of all of War Machine in a time frame will be able to look at the limited selection and go, oh,
I can handle that.
I can handle 25 casters where I can't handle 167 or whatever.
I have a 5% less chance to ask, so what does your feet do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, you could literally make a piece of paper with 25 feet on it. Just look that up?
You do understand I'd still have to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so is there any other rules that we should know for Champions other than those, Matt? Did we cover everything?
That's pretty much it.
Sweet.
But I think you were talking about the way that Champions is going to change in the future, which is also interesting. But before I get too sidetracked, I also want to just clarify. I see in the chat that there's something about Two-Headed Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, it's a doubles tournament format where you and a partner play on one side.
Yeah.
So you get, and I think you bring 35-point lists or something to that effect. Maybe it's 50. I'll have to double check with the person that's running it. But the basic idea is that you team up with one of your friends against another pair of opponents, and you just smash armies together and try and get silly with
Bush face.
I believe
I
you're
played
on the
that.
same clock.
Yeah.
And you're both basically activating at the same time.
I played that a couple
Yeah.
years
If we
ago.
drink during it, it sounds a lot like.
Beer machine.
It's a lot of fun.
And then on Sunday we have Caster Draft.
Oh, that's going to be so awesome.
Yes. For those who aren't aware, it's they premiered it at Adepticon. The Privateer Press did. It's not totally ready for prime time in terms of, being an officially supported format, but we got access to the packet. And part of what we're going to be doing is collecting some playtest information about it.
So jealous.
Basically, it's similar to Spell Draft in that you get into pods and draft cards. However, instead of drafting spells, you're starting and then bringing like your list. You're starting with like a list, but then you have a blank caster effectively.
Yeah.
Like a very generic caster, like 15-15, 6 focus or fury, hand cannon, power 12 sword kind of thing.
They're basically,
and then you're
at 5
drafting
across the
characteristics like
that's
strength or armor or spells or feats.
Ooh, I like
And not only that, weapons and stuff
Yeah,
like
weapons
that.
as well. So somebody picked up Tritus and Lola, I think, when they were at Adepticon.
There's an achievement for getting both Wrathrock and Throne Wrathrock.
Oh my god.
Somebody at Adepticon apparently drafted Kara's gun and then did nothing but rat upgrades. So they drafted like 6 rat upgrades and Kara's gun. And just had this caster that was like rat 10 running around the board.
I just have 14 things that can block shit.
Yeah.
I brought 18 Krabbits and that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to stand on this side of the board. I don't think you can get to me in time.
So let's talk a bit about Masters, because I know that that's what most of our local guys and our sort of top tier players are going to be looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Masters this year. You've decided, Jason's decided that he's going to play in Iron Arena through Masters, but
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on the stream while you're doing Masters,
Sweet.
just in case you go all the way. We need
yeah,
to have
that is not. I don't care. I don't care how many games I've played with Dreamer. I am not living that dream. It's just so. The funniest part of that is I've been super excited about playing Masters because I'm like I like playing Dreamer. I've kind of got into a good groove with Dreamer. I've played against lists built to beat Dreamer, and I feel pretty solid. So I talked to Marc Andre today. I'm like, dude, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to play Dreamer as long as I can, but I need a couple other lists. And he's like, do you have Old Witch? And I'm like, nope. He's like, then you're going to lose. I'm like, God damn it. So now I've got Old Witch, but I've got one day in the Iron Arena to figure out how to play her.
At least for Kador, she's not that hard.
Yeah,
In Kador, she doesn't have a feat, and she just sits on on her ass at the back and fires blind at people.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening for me for Masters while Jason runs the stream.
We should mention it's a triad.
Yeah, so Matt, tell us the Masters rules for this year because they are a bit different, correct?
I don't think they're any different than we've been doing them. They're different than what's typically done for Masters. We're doing a triad, so 3 lists. I think we're one of the only 3-list Masters events.
Yeah, it's
at this point, like at all.
Anywhere. I think it's a really good idea because there's a lot of times that there's a 3rd list is a really great option to have, and it's never a problem.
So is this DNC?
Yes.
Okay. So
with 3 lists required, you must play each of your lists at least once.
It's gonna be tough.
However, we did consciously look at our format because we do an open Masters tournament where everyone goes into the same tournament and then slogs it out until there's an undefeated player, unlike other events like Captain Con, where people play in smaller events, qualify through heats, and then they make a Masters with the top 8 or 16 or something. We're having a significant number of rounds, so you have to play 3 lists one time apiece, but you're probably going to have about 7 rounds to work it out how you're going to play it. So it's not as grueling as a lot of people might think. Like, you still have to be
kick in until
cognizant
the top 8,
of
right?
when you can play your lists and bringing lists that are appropriate to that format, but it's not the end of the world like some people might think.
I found just from my own personal experience in the past, what you do is you have your all comers list, which is the one you're most comfortable with, and then that gives having a 3-list format gives you the opportunity to build 2 lists to deal with whatever your Achilles heel is. And then as soon as that comes up, if you've got like, let's say range gun line is a prime example of something that, could be very different from what you built your all-comers list for. As soon as that comes up, play it. Don't question it. Just be like, hey, it's a range gun line. I've got to get, like, tick that box. And then that gives, now that it's like opening up the power level. It's like, bing, the little ding goes off, and you're like, sweet. Now I'm open to use that list if I need it later. And then the same thing with your third list. Let's say it's just for armor cracking. Well, as soon as you get a heavy armor skew list, you're like, ding, perfect. Get rid of those. If you play it that way, you're very rarely list locked. It's if you play your all comers list over and over, or your one that you're most comfortable with, or whatever, over and over and over again. That's when you get list locked last round, and somebody goes, "Oh, sweet! So you have an armor skew list that can handle range gun lines, eh?" Boop. There we go. Just a little advice. I'm no expert, but that works for me. Sure. Well, let's get to something that is exciting for Jason. Anything? Well, you've already alluded to some prizes in the Iron Arena this year. How does for those who've never been to an SOO or a big event like this, how does the Iron Arena work? And can you allude to a few prizes?
Yeah. So basically, we shamelessly stole this idea off of the TempleCon guys. And Privateer Press runs them usually whenever they go to events like Gen Con. It's basically a format where people show up. You have some table space set aside, sometimes with, wackier game formats, like we're going to be doing Company of Iron, so you don't have to necessarily just play War Machine. We're going to have various no quarter games, like we're going to bring some of the 30 by 30 mats for like Colossal Wrestling or Grind if you're so inclined. And basically we have a system where you report games against people that you play against. So like you and your opponents will report that you've played a game, and then you get points based on things like, were you painted? Were you playing against someone that you've never played against before? Someone from a different area than you? So, it's basically incentivizing people to hang out, meet new people, play games against people that they normally wouldn't get a chance to play games against. And then you can trade in your points for things like we have some of the alt sculpt Colby Sterlings that are going to be available. We have various widgets and tokens and focus points and various other things that Privateer Press has hooked us up with. We're going to have raffles for some of the larger items, including some signed posters from the Privateer Press crew. And I'm not going to inventory every single thing.
No, you don't have to. We just wanted some hints, but they're good prizes, guys. I mean,
it's a big box, so there's enough for lots of people to have something.
Do you have any of the pre-release stuff from Adepticon?
I don't know if we have any pre-release stuff, but we did definitely get some stuff that's newer from Privateer Press.
George,
okay,
always wanting more.
No, but so for some of us, there were a few things that were released only there, like for Kador, there's the new UA for the Mana Wars that came out.
Kador? They're not even a faction, I don't think. They're like a sub-faction. I think they're like a sub-faction of Signar.
Derp something?
Derp. So, okay, let's talk a bit about outside of the main hall. There are some other things that you can do during your time there. One is Ben was on for a very short while. Sorry for those people that caught that at the beginning of the cast. He's come and gone a couple of times. But
Poor guy.
So let's talk a bit about the Hobby Lounge. I know that our friend James Craig is going to be kicking around. There's a few other folks, and what is the Hobby Lounge and what's going on around painting?
So basically, the Hobby Lounge is going to be one of the smaller breakout rooms that we've got that are sort of adjacent to the ballroom area that we've rented. And so it's going to be quieter. It's going to be a bit more secluded, and more intimate setting, so you can, actually hear people talking. And we've got some really top-notch hobby people from our area, such as Ben and James, like you said. Also a local person named Kaz, who's
Kaz is
phenomenal.
super good.
He's painted a bunch of stuff for Tim that he's showcased on various formats.
Oh, yes.
Kaz is super good.
Yeah.
Notably his trolls, I believe, if you've seen those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they look really nice.
So we have a room set up where it's more of a casual like hangout, and
We're gonna bring Ben on. We're
talk
gonna
shop.
Oh, we're not gonna bring Ben on. I was gonna say we're gonna. Oh, we hung up on Ben. Poor Ben. We'll bring on Ben. If he calls us back again, we'll try to let him join in the conversation to give us some more details. Also, that means there's a painting contest, because if Ben is involved, there's going to be a painting contest. Is that correct?
As far as I know.
Cool. Well, hopefully Ben will.
He's more in charge of that department, because I don't really have any credibility when it comes to painting competitions.
Okay.
No, answer it.
No, we're gonna call
We're gonna
Ben back.
add him to the conversation.
Exactly.
Press a little plus. This little
that one.
plus. There you go. No, that's not it. Damn it.
You're
Stupid Skype.
So close.
All right, so that we don't get lost in that, Ben will be on in just a second. He'll tell us a bit about the Hobby Lounge. Tell us a bit about some of the vendors we have there this year, because that's always an exciting part of the SOO, is getting to be one-on-one with some of the companies that we don't get to see normally.
That's so we definitely have Trevi, who's coming by and demoing Breachstorm.
Yep.
It's a new game that he's made. All I know about it is that it's sci-fi and it has like talking cats, so it's already pretty cool. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure what it's about, but I'm interested to see what he has to say.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
We're going to have a local game store who's going to bring, board games and last minute stuff that you might need, like, the glue or the ruler that you forgot that you need, or just general things to purchase. As far as I know, we have Muse on Minis coming. There was some confusion recently about what was going on with the change in ownership and stuff, but as far as I know, they are sending some product to be sold.
Oh,
Sweet.
nice.
I don't-
That's awesome. Yeah, last I heard they were not going to be there, so.
But John will be there, and I think
We knew that John at least was going to be there, but we didn't.
But he's
know.
playing games. He's like, I don't run that company no more.
John's done.
If Ben's listening, we're gonna put you on hold for just a second. We're going to bring Ben in, and then we'll add you to the conversation. So if you want to hang up on Matt just for a second.
No, we just.
Oh, there we go. We can add participants. So we're gonna add. There we go. Add people to this call. Ben, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Tell us a bit about what's going on with the Hobby Lounge this year and the painting contest.
Okay, so we're changing things up a little bit. Sorry for the tech difficulties, but I heard you talking about my game, so I figured I'd come in. But we're changing things up a little bit this year. We're not going to do classes like we did last year, just because the timing didn't seem to work for everybody. So like some people wanted to come in at different times. So instead, what we're just going to do is we'll have a schedule posted of like who's going to be in the hobby room when, and everyone that we've got going on is an expert at various things. So I'll be there some of the time, James will be there some of the time, Kaz will be there some of the time, and you should be able to see sort of on the door of the hobby room, when we're going to be there. Everything still good?
Yep.
Keep talking.
I'm very afraid that the Skype is just going to get rid of me again. So yeah, like basically there will be lots of time over the weekend where each of us will be in that room. So while anytime the room is open, everybody's welcome to come hang out, paint, build models, chat, do whatever you want. But if there's something specifically you want to talk about with someone who's an expert in that thing, there will be lots of opportunities over the course of the weekend to do that. So that's something to sort of keep an eye on. And then we will also be doing a painting competition, which is going to be pretty much the same rules that we had last year. So we'll have a single model category, a group category, a large category. I'm forgetting something. I feel like there's 4 categories.
I believe we had a question from, and this came up on our Facebook page, but what is the deal? So if you've got a bust you want to show off, what does that qualify as?
We are not currently talking about doing a bust category. If we had a bunch of busts entered, we would probably make a category for them. Generally speaking, we would look at including those in like the single miniature category, which is like things that aren't, large or huge models. That'd sort of be the general idea. But if we get enough people bringing in busts, we'll absolutely do a bust category because they are a unique thing. That's what they're doing with the Formula P3s now. But I don't want to announce a bust category and then we have 2 busts.
Well, I think there's probably only going to be 2, so out of everything. What about if we don't does it have to be a War Machine model, or can it be Guild Ball? What can it be?
Whatever the heck you want.
Ooh.
We created the Sioux as a War Machine event, and we've added Guild Ball, and we've added Infinity, and we've added, we have the Breach Storm being demoed this year. It's like anything that is a miniature that you like, and that's kind of where the categories are kind of loose. So that if you bring us something that's not necessarily a model we recognize, we'll be like, okay, we'll put that where it seems appropriate and judge it against other models that are similar to it, and not worry too much about the strictness of the category. Well, we're categorizing based on what the model is like, basically.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You got it. I want to encourage this again. I've said this a million times. I love having more models at the SOO. Bring your stuff. I believe that was the Mr. Golden Deal that hung up.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully. Let's make sure. So, Matt, are you there?
I am here now, yes.
Perfect. Okay, we had 2 Skype addresses for you. Things got confusing.
I was locked out of the one, so I used another one that I had.
Perfect.
It's okay. This is the Collins Show, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to encourage everybody who is a painter. And here's the thing. Some of you don't consider yourself painters because you compare yourselves to great painters. You look on,
and Shoshi.
You look on the internet and you're flooded with incredibly good painters. I am not a great painter. I just love going to painting competitions, and the only thing that makes a painting competition fun is if there's lots of other painters that have brought your stuff. So anybody, I'm shout out.
You don't want to just see your model.
I don't.
In a
It
case all by
sucks.
yourself.
It sucks. They're like, you've won first place against yourself.
First, second, and third.
Yay! No, I want everybody to bring their stuff because the reality is that you are really great painters, and I want to see your stuff on the shelves. I want to talk to you about painting. And I know you're out there. I've seen you, everybody. I've seen your stuff.
The hilarious part is
Will has seen your stuff.
You go to the case and you look at the models that people have entered, and then you wander through the hall and you see somebody playing with an army that is way better than anything in the case. And you're like, the fuck,
Why
dude?
aren't you entering your shit? I'm not a good enough painter. Yes, you are.
Grab one random one of that unit and put it in the damn case.
Bring your stuff, enter it, because it's an awesome experience, and there's no way to become a better painter than to enter into contests and have other painters
critique the shit out of you.
Exactly. Happily.
Yes.
And constructively.
That's optional.
So
Ben, you were going to say something there, Ben?
Yeah, can I throw something in there?
Yep.
The guy who won our painting competition last year, just to play off of what Will was saying, he painted that model over the course of the weekend in the hobby lounge, getting feedback from all the experts who were in there. And he was someone who came in at the beginning of the weekend being like, I like painting. I don't think I'm a great painter, blah, blah, blah. And just sat with us the weekend, learned a whole bunch of stuff, and applied all of it to the model that he was working on over the course of that weekend. Put it in the competition when he was done with it at the end, ended up winning the whole thing. Just because he took that encouragement to heart, he took the lessons to heart, and he thought he wasn't great, but he tried it, and we just liked it the best. We liked the things that he did. So yeah, like don't listen to yourself. Listen to the judges.
Okay, I just want to. We're going to call off the round table. We have just a quick. You want to hit the focus button just because we got it? Go for it. Focus. Before the SOO every year, we all take a second to hand out our con advice. For those people that have never gone to a con before, there is great advice to be given by people who've been to a few cons. We've heard many things over the years. There's the rules on making sure you bathe and making sure you sleep, making sure
3,
you
2,
eat.
1. Are we going to say it again?
It's important because I don't want to smell you.
Unless you smell really pretty.
Unless you smell it. No, Axe body spray is usually the other way to go, and that's horrible too.
That's not pretty.
So let's give some con advice, guys. I want to go out to. We'll go to Ben first. Ben, do you have going to your first con advice? Hand it out.
Going to my first con advice, it was so long ago now. It wasn't even that long ago. It's just I've been to so many now. My real advice for going to your first con is just play. Don't be worried about whether you're gonna win games. Don't be worried about whether or not you're gonna have fun with people. Like everyone's there for the same thing, so just go do that thing. I mean, now I might clarify that, be like, if you want to go and paint and hang out with painters, and just do that. Go do the thing that you want to do, and don't be nervous that you've never done it before, because everyone's there for the same thing.
Going over to Matt. Matt, do you have some con-going advice? Why don't we let you be specific to Hamilton? Do you have any sort of advice to going to a con in Hamilton?
Well, we have a pretty good venue, given that our gaming space is in the same place as our room block, and then so you don't have to go very far or even outside to bring your miniatures back and forth to your room or whatnot. But also we're connected to Jackson Square, which is a semi-underground mall in downtown Hamilton, and they have all of the amenities that you would expect at a mall. They've got a food court for some cheap eats. They have a grocery store where you can get, prepared food by the pound. There's an LCBO in there. There's drugstores if you are in need of some emergency con-crud supplies. There's some restaurants within very easy walking distance. We're very proud of the venue that we have there. We think it's enough of a selling point to specifically bring it up. You don't have to trudge, miles to the event space and haul all your stuff. You don't have to leave very far, spend a bunch on cab fare or whatever to find a good meal or to go out for a drink after you're done playing. And basically everything you could realistically need is within, a 10-minute walking distance from you.
Yeah, and Hamilton's not like a crazy. It's a different. It's not a scary place, but there's not a lot of tourism there. So really, the reality is, you although you might want some sunlight at one point, you don't gotta leave. Play the games, yo. Play the games.
Mm-hmm.
George, I'm going to send it over to you. You're not even going to... dude, I'm going to miss... I have not gone to a con without you. I don't even... Who am I going to hang out with?
I don't know. Find some other big guy with a beard, latch on to him.
What the fuck?
No, but...
Your beard isn't big enough, Jason.
Sorry,
at the Sioux specifically, the correct answer is wake up relatively early, go down to the little diner, have breakfast, come back, go play a bunch of games. Around lunchtime, wander down, get a couple of pounds of nations, come back, come back up and play for the rest of the day, and then find some people who are going out to dinner and just go. And don't be afraid of just wandering up to some Yahoo and saying, "Hey, what are you guys doing for dinner?" Because everybody there plays the same shit you do, and you will have
at least
lots to
something in
talk
common.
about. Yeah,
well, and the thing is we're all going for dinner.
yeah, everybody is going.
Everybody
for dinner.
goes for dinner at the same time. So don't it's weird. You'll see a bunch of nerds that you just saw at the con sitting at a table. They're not an exclusive group.
No.
Just be like, dudes, can I join you? They'll be like, hell yeah, you're our new best friend.
Yep.
And
here is just a little tidbit, and this is going to be really hard for a lot of people. If you are sitting there and you're in Iron Arena or you're playing in a tournament or something, and you see a podcaster you like, a really good War Machine player, talk to them. They want to talk to you. They will give you all the time in the world, not during their game, but at any other time.
I'll probably try to get you drunk.
Yeah.
Please go talk to them.
It's true.
Because there's something not a lot of people find out, which is that it can be kind of lonely to be really good at a game. Because
Wouldn't know.
What's that like?
I've heard tales, because it certainly ain't me. But when other people
This is a legend
don't want to
legend he's created for himself. It's like,
when people
those
don't
guys,
want
they
to
have no
talk
friends.
to you because you're really good at something, they
Never had that happen.
They will never.
all right.
Literally.
I think they get it.
Oh my God!
We're
you
going to go over to
people.
Jason. Jason, what's your tidbit?
You horrible human.
Apparently, they also offer water at cons, so you should
Drink
probably,
all of it.
Probably should drink some
That
every
is
now and then.
that is the way to avoid con crud.
Apparently,
Wash your hands.
that's what I've been told.
Wash your hands 50 times.
Yeah.
Drink all
to
the
be
water.
honest, I wash my hands a lot at cons, and I am the one that doesn't. I get the sore throat because I talk all day. Because
Yes.
not because I'm just me. I'm
It's
talking.
also
'cause
kind of
I
dry.
announce.
It's an indoor area.
All right, my piece of advice is: here's a thing they don't tell you about Iron Arena, and it may have changed. This will be funny if it has. Usually at Iron Arena, they give a bonus point out if you play against a quote-unquote podcaster. I think they call it
VIPs.
VIPs, which
Vips.
VIPs. So, Jason and I will be in the Iron Arena all week.
Yeah.
If they can find them, they'll be wearing their Moose Machine badges.
We'll be wearing our Moose Machine. Oh, mine's ready to go.
Awesome.
I
So
forgot about mine. Thank you
play
for the reminder.
play against the VIPs because you get extra points. They may have taken that away, but most of the
No,
time.
usually,
Usually
Matt-
it's
it's actually part of the software.
Matt
so.
can probably speak to that.
Matt, do we still
Well, we'd
get?
have to actually agree that you guys are very important.
That is true.
We
There
don't-
was- there was
well,
As far as I know, it's still in there.
There was like a
screwed.
conversation about that the first year.
We-
They're like,
we'd also-
really? Moose Machine?
we'd also have to come to a consensus on person.
Yeah, true. All right, guys, it's that time again. It's time for the button.
Press.
The lightning round.
Oh no.
I got all of you. I got
we got
5 players.
We got Ben in.
This is gonna be good. Ben, you're still there, right?
You can't.
In theory.
Perfect.
You can't play.
Sorry, we got 4 players. This is exciting. You guys know the rules. Buzz in if you know the answer to the question. It is. I got to find the minty fresh question of the week. I'll do that while we're doing the first questions. While you guys are waffling on what the answers are.
We waffle a lot.
And while I try to read my own handwriting. Question number 1. Spell the old witch's name. And not old witch. Sorry, that was Ben. Go for it.
I'm going to be mad if I get this wrong, but I'm going to go with Zevanna space Agha.
Correctamundo. 1 point for
Wow.
Ben. Good job.
I never would have gotten Savannah.
Question number 2. What are Midas's 2 subtypes? So the 2 things that are under his title other than Warlock and da-da-da-da-da.
Midas?
Midas.
Mm.
George.
I'm going to say Blindwater Gatorman.
No.
Oh,
I'm going to go with Matt on that one. I think Matt got it first.
Bone Grinder
Yes?
and sorry, you said excluding which one?
Excluding Warlock and Minion.
Pharaoh.
Correctamundo.
of course.
Okay, question number 3.
I like how wrong George was.
Yeah, I was really wrong.
That was pretty good. That proves to me that you don't read over my shoulder. Question number 3. Baldur One's title is. What is Baldur One's title? So the thing after his name on his card.
Ben.
Ben.
The Stone Cleaver.
Correctamundo.
I
Question.
wasn't sure if you were going for that or potent, so I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah, that's why I had to clarify it, because I knew there was another one. Question number 4. What is the POW of Agrimony's hand weapon? Jason.
Trick question. Agrimony does not have a hand.
Whoa! You caught the trick question. Bonus points. Woohoo! -3.
Damn it.
They are not good bonus points.
Bad bonus points.
Bad bonus points. Question number 5. What does Prey do? Jason.
Prey gives you +2 to hit and damage rolls against the thing that is preyed.
Correct. I will give you a point on that one. That brings you back to 0. Question number 6. What faction does Anissa Raval work for? Jason.
Legion of Everblight.
Correctamundo. Question number 7. What is Kolgrima's armor?
17.
No.
16.
No.
15.
You're not allowed to keep guessing. Anybody else?
It's 17 under the stone.
Then it's 15.
It is 15. 4 points for George.
Who's not under the stone?
Question number 8. How many boxes on the Siege Animatrix?
Animatrix?
Animatrix.
That was Ben.
That was Ben. Go for it.
I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to say it's 34 because I try to kill these things all the time.
It's wrong. 34 is wrong. Jason.
Is it 38?
Too damn high.
Is it 38?
It's not 38.
One more than whatever Ben said?
It is 35.
Oh, it is?
35, yes. Until somebody looks it up and it's like, you are wrong. It's totally 34, you son of a bitch. Question number 9. What is the defense on an objective? Oh,
That was everybody.
that was everybody all at once.
5.
I was not first. I know that.
All right, it's time for the Minty Fresh question of the week. It is, what is Lucant's first name? Jason.
Steve.
That would be awesome. Hey guys. Steve Lucant here.
Sup,
Yeah,
bro?
so I don't even know how I got here, but I got these really wicked crazy arms now.
Steve Lucant for Cirrus.
Okay, Ben, you got it?
I'm going to go with something Lely's.
That's good.
I was
it's
going to go
good.
with father,
Close.
but that sounds...
It's not father. It's not father. Matt, do you want to make a guess?
Orem.
Oh, God. So it's Gil.
Gil?
G-H-I-L. Gil.
Yeah, it is.
Gil.
Really?
It
Yeah,
is
as
Gil.
soon as you said that.
So it's so close to Steve. It's like, hey guys, it's Gil. I thought I joined a curling club, but yeah, things got weird.
Gil Lucant is totally
Something
on the
about a great
PTA.
work.
Did the rest of you guys have your brains removed from your body?
Oh,
Because
man.
that was freaky.
Now I want a curling rock with the Convergence logo on the top.
It just says Gil's.
Gil.
Yeah, it just says Gil on the
Gil's
side.
Rock.
That's Gil's Rock, man.
Gil's Rock.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, although this has been the wildest and weirdest SOO episode yet, I hope this is what leads
Luke Ant.
Luke Ant. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, Matt, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, buddy. We'll be there at around 6 or 7 o'clock to help you do some setting up.
Cool.
Ben, are you going to be there tomorrow too?
Yeah, probably around the same time.
Perfect. So we'll all be there on the setup crew. Anybody else that shows up Thursday night, which some people do so they can get early into the Iron Arena on Friday, please give a hand helping set up, and then we usually all go out and, well, not everybody. Jason and I go out and drink copious amounts of beer because Thursday night's the best night
And
to
then
do that.
Regret it the rest of the weekend.
Really? Yeah.
Remember last year, what, Nick?
Oh,
Poor
God.
Nick from Combo Smite was just rough the rest of the
Like
weekend.
for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a trick to not. I mean, maybe that's our last piece of SOO advice.
Pace yourself.
Pace yourself,
Know
and
your
don't try to keep up with Jason.
No.
All right,
Please
ladies and
don't.
gentlemen, that's it for this evening. I got to give a shout out to our sponsors at Out of the Box. They're the ones that are making it possible for us to go to the SOO this year and paying for
They
some of your internet.
literally are.
And Matt, that reminds me, don't let me get away without giving you some money for the internet feed this year. Let's make sure that we give a shout out to our buddies at Muse on Minis. Hopefully, we'll get to see a few of them, or at least get to pick up some tokens while we're at the con. We'll get to see our buddy John, which is pretty exciting, even though he's no longer "quote unquote" Muse on Minis. Anything else I forgot?
No, I think that's it. There's the team tournament coming up, and after the Sioux is done, I'll be releasing the next tournament for Out of the Box.
Sweet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight.
Ben might have something.
Oh, Ben, do you have something to
Anything
announce?
going on, buddy?
What? No, not really.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
All right, everybody, we'll see you guys. Well, the streaming will start on Friday, probably at around noon. We'll see you guys at the SOO. And that's it. Dice down.
Dice down. Moose Machine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moose Machine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.
Matt was like out of there. He's like,
I'm fucking out.
I'm done. I gotta go do
got
some
shit
stuff.
to do.
I got crap to do. All right, Ben, thanks so much for joining us, man. We totally appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Ben.
Messiness at the beginning. I do not know what happened, and then I was, oh shit, and then Matt was there, so I didn't care.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
all
what
good,
happened.
brother.
Is you got interrupted by Matt. Matt was like, "Screw you, Carver. Get out." He just like ran the internet for a little bit. All right, guys. So Ben, we'll see you Thursday night. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're gonna shut her down because we got shit to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got to
gotta tear
pack
all
all
this
this
down.
crap up. All right. Talk to you later, buddy.
Bye.
All right, guys, on the chat, good night. Hope to see you tomorrow.